Hello, Bannerman. Long time no speak. Today we've got a different episode. We're branching out a little bit, playing some Shatterpoint. Today I'll be playing against an unknown individual, one who has never appeared on this channel before. That's right, we're talking about Ryan. So for our song community who are experiencing this for the first time, I wanted to do a quick rundown of how list building works, and this will inform everything else going forward. So here's my primary, one of my primaries. I'm bringing General Anakin Skywalker. In the top left-hand corner, you'll see 7 SP. SP stands for squad points. I have 7 of them, which means I can spend 7 on my secondary and my supporting units. Next to that is my era symbol, so I can only bring units in the squad of that era. On the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a circle, and the 4, that is the amount of force points that Anakin brings to the table. And force points are used to spend it on abilities and other effects in the game. It is the most important resource you have besides the resource to win the game. For Anakin's supporting unit, I'm running Obi1 Kenobi out of hiding, as the community knows him as Obi2. In the top left hand corner, it says 4, so we're taking the 7 previously minus 4, so we have 3 squad points left. Next to that, you have the era symbol. So you have Galactic Republic and Rebels. He can be used in either era. And then he brings 0 force points to the equation. And lastly, rounding out the squad is a supporting unit of ARF clone troopers. They are 3 points. So now I have 0 squad points remaining. And they're Galactic Republic era. They bring 0 force to the table. After torturing you with that, I decided to do our customary break down the list. So this is my first squad. As before, we have Anakin, Obi2, and ARFs. Anakin is very force hungry. You know, he wants to get in. He wants to slap some people around with his saber, knock them out, and when he does, he gets a bunch of benefits. So his ultimate thing is, this is where the fun begins. So if you wound an enemy unit, you get to refresh a force point, which is very nice, as he's very hungry for force. Additionally, at the end of the unit's activation, if it wounded 1 or more secondary or primary units during the activation, each allied Galactic Republic secondary and supporting unit may dash. Then if it was a primary unit, I can move the struggle token 1 space toward my momentum tokens. This will be shown later on. Just trust me. The downfall with Anakin is he cannot move himself. Okay, he has to spend a force point to move himself. He can't do it for free. Obi2, he's got run, so when he activates, he can either reposition, which is awesome for a melee unit, or heal. In addition, if he wants to move another unit, an allied unit that is engaged, he can instead give it to them. What I'm bringing him for is Mind Trick. So for 1 force point, I can be like, oh, by the way, your attack, your shooting, your melee within range of 5 of Obi-Wan gets the disarm condition, which means they do not get rerolls. So for my song crowd, losing rerolls is pretty big. So it's pretty nice. Lastly, you have the ARF clone troopers. You know, what you bring clone troopers for mainly is the supporting fire. So in this instance, they have supporting fire dash. So basically when I have a Galactic Republic unit that attacks, they can use this within range 5, and then that unit can dash. Movement is incredibly important in Shatterpoint, and you can get some really funky stuff. So for instance, on the left, you have a attack tree, form, weapon form, whatever. You can throw your lightsaber with Demso at range 4, use supporting fire to move him in closer to another unit, and then I'm going to end this to do another attack, but this time a melee attack, so 8 dice versus 6, and really slap some dudes around. A lot of fun. I think I've gotten it to work 1 time. My second squad is Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi. He has my primary. Basically, his whole shtick is that if a Galactic Republic unit is wounded, I get to reduce my force costs by 1 once per turn when an allied Jedi attacks. So that's going to trigger Obi2, Anakin, Shakti, and Ki-Adi. So it's pretty sweet, pretty great way to come back from behind. He's also really fun to just blast somebody with a force push. Next we have Jedi Master Shakti. Shakti is really interesting. She's a 5-point unit, and she's 5 points because she gets to bring an extra force point. She's unique in that. So instead of being 7 force points, because Ki-Adi-Mundi only brings 3, I'll have 8, which is huge, especially because my list revolves around Anakin doing shit. Then we have the 501st Clone Troopers coming in, and they have Coordinated Fire Strain. Basically what that means is they take an action, and they have that condition token on them, After the action is completed, they're going to take, I believe it's 3 wounds. I could be wrong. It's probably 2, but it could also be 3. I'm not looking at the rule book while I'm recording this. Now let's move on to Ryan's squads. Ryan is running Obi1 Kenobi, or as we like to call him, Obi1, Captain Rex, and the Republic Commandos. Obi1 really cares about these things called hunker tokens. And basically a hunker token means that if you get attacked with ranged, normally, you get to add an extra defense die on your defense roll. With Kenobi, though, with General Kenobi, that also works against melee. So normally in melee, if you get into melee engagement with another unit, you strip away the hunker token. Kenobi says, no way, I'm keeping it on. In addition, after the attack, you can remove as many hunkers as you want from the unit that got attacked to heal, and then they may also dash after that. So really annoying, you can like knock a unit off a point, and then guess what, they're right back. So then we have Captain Rex. Rex really cares about hunker tokens as well. He likes giving them out, so he can move other Galactic Republic characters and give them a hunker token, right? So you got that synergy going back and forth. He can also move himself and then also give him a hunker token. And he can heal when he gives other units hunker tokens. Lastly, he has this ability where if he has a hunker token, he gains steadfast. And just steadfast means you resist the first push on your unit. Not a force push, just like a shove, I believe this was called. And lastly, the Clone Commandos. Clone Commandos, just a really solid unit. Coordinated fire, they just do an extra damage. Then I want to quickly jump over to Obi-Wan's Ataru stance. So it's hilarious to me because he has Soresu and Ataru as 2 different stances. And you never go to Soresu, even though he's a Soresu master, because the expertise, the defensive expertise, clone armor, is better on this side, and you have better melee stats on this side than Soresu. So just a fun little thing. Ryan's second squad features Clone Sergeant Hunter, Commander Wolf, and the 212th Clone Troopers. Hunter really likes boosting up his clone counterparts, right? He prefers Bad Batch, gives him a little bit more oomph, but clones also works. So basically, when they make an attack action, right, a clone trooper, instead of a miss, you can turn it to a hit, which is nice. It gets a little bit of extra push through. He's also got a couple other funky things in his tree, like when a primary unit moves, he can then move towards that primary unit. So like, for instance, Anakin moves, Hunter can hunt him down. And then when he's attacked, if he rolls 2 misses on the defense dice, he can re-roll them and then gets an exposed, which is a condition token that says you don't get to re-roll on your defense dice. That's for later. You know, better to survive now than survive later. Then we have Commander Wolf. Wolf, really haven't used him myself, but what he does is he gets to add attack dice when he's doing melee attacks, right? He wants to be physically in your face, punching your teeth in, right? And then he has a Wolf Pack. When an allied clone trooper makes an attack targeting an enemy character within 5 of another allied clone trooper unit, the attacker's crit results cannot be modified by enemy effects. So if you look previously at like Ki-Adi-Mundi's card, his stance, if I rolled 1 expertise on the defense, I get to turn one of those crits into either a hit or a miss. I don't know, I'm not going back. That's huge. So you can push more damage, right? Getting that damage through really helps with the defense of Obi-Wan. And then now Hunter brings the heat. Then we have the 212th, Coordinated Fire, Pin. That's what you really bring them for. Pin basically says your first movement, you don't get to move, right? Movement, like I said, is extremely important in this game. So having that on a stick to just shoot it out wherever is absolutely fantastic and critical. Today, we're going to be playing on Shifting Priorities as the game mode. Ryan and I brought the same mission pack, Shifting Priorities, so it does not matter who wins the roll-off, we are playing Shifting Priorities. This is just going to be a quick flyover with my fancy new Steadicam, so apologies, still getting the kinks worked out with this thing. You're going to see my hand in a lot of shots. This is the first time we're using this. I promise it will get better. Thank you, Kyle from the Wargamers Guild, for letting us use this terrain. We're just going to do a quick fly over the board to take a look at the deployments. We're playing Steal the Secret plans on this. We have a nice plus center. You can see the yellow objective tokens. And at the deployment on this mode, you really want to be careful, make sure that you have all points covered when you deploy your units. Ryan's going to draw Hunter and use Hunter's ability to move Wolf towards the other objective. Then he's going to move Wolf towards the center of the board, followed by spending a force point for the additional movement, striking distance, to get an additional dash, reducing his force point total from 7 to 6. It's important to remember that in the first turn of the game, you cannot score any objectives. So even though Ryan is pushing up deep into the center of the board, he's not actually going to be able to score off the objectives, which you'll see on the left side in the struggle tracker. I'm going to draw Obi1, and I'm going to use his reposition to move him up towards the ladder. Then I'm going to move up the ladder because I'm within range. Again, take a hunker token, and then I'm going to clumsily move onto the objective and claim it because I'm on the higher elevation. Ryan is going to draw Rex and use Rex's ability to move a commando. It gains a hunger token. Then Rex will advance up, spend 1 force point for advanced maneuver, which gives him another hunker, but he spends a force point, so now he is down to 5 force points. Following up, he's going to shoot Obi1. The attack does 2 damage and 2 shoves. Ryan reclaims the objective. I draw the 501st, dash them up, and then spend a force point on defensive maneuver, following by climbing the ladder with the secondary 501st unit after he moves up. Both supporting units move at the same time, and he's going to claim that point. After this, they're going to shoot at Rex and dish out 3 damage, a pin, and a strain. The struggle token is going to move 3 in Jan's favor. On Ryan's turn, he draws a Shatterpoint card, which let him choose Hunter as his activation. He's going to dash to 212 with Hunter's ability. Then he's going to climb with Hunter into engagement range of Obi1. As a result, Obi1 is going to lose both of his Hunker tokens. Obi1 is going to Mind Trick and disarm for -1 force point and blunt the attack quite dramatically. I'm going to pull Shakti, and she's going to jump Anakin. Following that, Shakti is going to jump. Then she's going to dash into melee with Rex. And then swing out, swing loud, swing proud. She's going to do 7 damage and pull an expertise jump off the tree, wounding Rex, which gives me an additional momentum. Rex will get to disarm. Ki-Adi-Mundi, Guardian of the Republic, will trigger as a result, and he will move Anakin. Obi1's Knowledge and Defense will remove the hunker off of Rex, heal the disarm. Ryan is going to draw the commandos. They're going to lose the hunker, and then they're going to advance, followed by spending 1 force point for their extra maneuver to gain another hunker token. The lower one will get into melee with the 501st, and the other one will get into melee with Shakti. The hunkers are lost from the 501st because they are now engaged in melee. Unfortunately, Ryan is not able to smash and bash his way through those units. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for. Anakin activates, spends a force point to jump, switches stance to Demso, focuses, smashes 2 hits through on Hunter, 5 damage. I'm going to end this, an extra 2 force points, 7 damage go through, wound Hunter, refresh that force point, gain a momentum on the struggle. Pin falls off of the 501st. Ki-Adi-Mundi heals Obi1, strips the pin. Whole bunch of stuff happens. It's crazy. I win the struggle. For the second struggle, we are going to need a new exit. Ryan rolls priority, miss. Draws a 212, puts him in reserve, activates Obi1, does a hunker, and then a move action. I roll priority expose and draw the 501st, spending a force point for defensive maneuver. Then they're going to shoot at Wolf, giving Pin a strain and 3 damage. Ryan rolls priority block and pulls his 212 from reserve, spending a force point for defensive maneuver. He gains a hunker on the 212 and heals a Pin from Wolf with Rex. He's going to focus fire at the 501st, doing coordination fire, and then shooting at Anakin. Both will get shoved. Anakin will deal 2 damage back to deflect, gaining. I draw Ki-Adi-Mundi, put him in reserve for the ARF. He's going to spend another force point for defensive maneuver, focus, shoot the 212, coordination fire strain with the 501st, and wound them. Ryan rolls priority miss and draws Wolf, healing the strain, spending a force point on run a gun, and an additional force point for coordination fire. Blasts the 501st, shoves him 3 times, and sends him to an early grave. I draw Ki-Adi-Mundi, move him up, and attack the commandos, doing a ton of damage, disarm, exposing, and straining. Then getting a reposition and being able to blast Obi1 with a force push for free thanks to the wounded 501st. I would like to point out that somewhere in my notes I had recorded the force points wrong, so Ryan rolls priority block and pulls Rex, moves the commandos to my open point, and spends 2 force points in defensive maneuvers. Focus, coordinate fire, shoots the ARFs, but is not able to kill them. I roll priority miss and draw the ARFs for my turn. I heal the strain, and then I'm going to spend 1 force point on defensive maneuver. I move them to the back point to flip it to me, away from those nasty 212. Ryan draws Shatterpoint and spends a force point to put it in reserve to place his commandos. He's going to shoot at Shock T and do Bump Kiss, but win the struggle. Commandeer New Ride is chosen for Struggle 3. I roll priority miss and draw Obi2, moving up to claim my back point. 1, 2, 3. Ryan is going to roll priority block and get Hunter. Hunter's going to move the commando into engagement with Obi2, and then stab Anakin in the throat, but is unable to kill him, and jump down into the now mosh pit of a back point. I am going to get the 501st, but put them in reserve, and draw Shock T, jumping Anakin down to the point, and then bashing the commandos over the head with her lightsaber, wounding them. In a desperate attempt, Ryan draws Wolf, puts him in reserve, draws Obi1, tries to claim the point, and then on my turn, I roll priority miss, and the writing's on the wall, the game's over, and I've pulled that sweet W. For those of you who made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. This was my second ever attempt at recording a Shatterpoint game. The first attempt ended up in a complete failure, and I learned a lot recording this. I got to give myself breathing room when I do it. I gave myself no room to cut around, no extra meat on the bone, so hitting the ground running left, right, and center, snippety snappity. Next time, I'm going to do a better job. Practice makes perfect. And yeah, I'm glad to be able to record a video and come back to the channel after such a long hiatus. See you next time. I have a special secret world champion of Shatterpoint for the next Shatterpoint game lined up. You're going to want to see it, even if the video is crap. Love ya. Bye.